Man, we back in the building tonight. Thank you, guys. We had to take a quick hiatus. You know, we're coming off of the shows are so hot back to back to back to back. Everything was rolling really good. And we're not going to stop. You know, we took a quick break. First of all, before I get started and get into tonight's show and everything that's going on, I want to send a super shout out. A super shout out to all of the dads, as I call them kings, and wish them a happy Father's Day because you deserve it. Now, don't get me wrong. I know some of y'all got a pair of drawers. Some of y'all got some socks. Some of y'all got one golf ball. Ain't no one get a whole set of golf tees. No one got a whole set of golf clubs. So you just got mismatched. You got to put them together. But I'm here to tell you, my brothers, I'm in the same boat as you. So I want to say happy Father's Day. Hopefully everything went well. Hopefully the family bless you. Hopefully you had a wonderful day. But it is now time to turn up. And this is your boy, the one and only Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. And we come right back at you with yet another fabulous guest tonight. It's my boy, but I'm not going to talk about him just yet until you do a couple things for me. One, make sure you share this with your friends, and then make sure they share with other people. Make sure you do the most important thing, subscribe to the show, and then make sure you do something else. Make sure you let everyone know that the Pull Up Podcast Show is coming their way. See my girl, Bella Baby, checking in tonight, coming all the way from the ATL. Got to drop it like that. Checking in tonight. I see some more people in the audience. Make sure tonight with our guests, you have questions that you need answers to. This guy is going to make sure he answers them for you. But before we get into the show, Val, you know what to do. Drop it.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.
Man, every time I hear my track, that just made me, let's go. Let's make me bounce. Tomorrow, you make sure you tune in. You want to talk about the person that put that track together. They're going to be right here in the studio with none other than me and Val the Voice. So make sure you tune in. But tonight, season 3, episode 312. We are just clicking episode 312. Oh my God, we moving as quick as the year because I really can't believe that it's June already. Wasn't it just Christmas? I thought so. But anyway, hailing from the great state of Illinois, because you know I'm from the Chi. But my guy, he's from, as we call, when we at home, we say downstate. Downstate Illinois, Bloomington that is. Coming to us, had an illustrious college career, moved on, and then the journey started. When I say the journey, we're going to talk about it. And then he had a surprise. But I don't want to ruin it for you because I'm going to let him talk about that. Bring to the stage my guy, my friend, the one and only Coach Dottie Dunsett II. What's up, Coach?
How you doing, Coach Tony? I appreciate you having me today.
Man, I'm wonderful, man. I appreciate your time, man. It's been absolutely wonderful, man. How you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing great. You know, just taking it a day at a time, just lining things up, just took a new head coaching position and just kind of taking it day by day.
Man, I got people that know you already checking in. Ashley already checking in. Callmore, she said, what's going on? She's already checking in on the show. My girl Bella from the ATL, by the way, of Baltimore. I got to make sure I let everybody know that Bella from Baltimore. She's Bella from Baltimore, Coach Dunsett. If I don't say that, man, she may back around and smack me when she see me. You know how some of them chicks get like that, man. Hey, man, let's jump into this with 2 feet in the deep end of the pool. You know, you jump on the deep end of the pool, you got to either do what? Sink or swim, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Exactly. But one thing I love, man, again, being from the great state of Illinois, Chi-town up north, you are, as we say, a downstate homeboy, man. It is great. And for those that don't know where Bloomington is, it's the home of Jake from State Farm.
You're absolutely right about that one.
Man, let's go back in the crate for a little bit, man, and talk about the high school, man, the high school career. Where'd you come out of school at?
So I played at Bloomington High School. You know,
Bloomington. I remember I went to Morgan Park, baby. We had a tournament down at Bloomington High, baby. Y'all came out looking like Indiana University, them red and white stripes on, man.
You already know, but we were the purple and gold. And it was some very competitive battles. You know, I was part of some really good teams that had multiple 20-win seasons, won the conference 3 times. We ended up playing in the Pontiac tournament against Chicago and we ended up winning the championship there. But they were a little underhanded, but we were able to take advantage of our opportunity that was in front of us.
And Pontiac was always between Pontiac and the Little Dipper, man. Pontiac, we always loved to come down and play in the Pontiac, man. That was always the get out of Chicago ticket. If you're going down to Pontiac, man, you had a name for yourself.
Absolutely. There were some huge competitors. You talk about the Derrick Roses, the Calvin Brocks. I mean, from West Aurora. I mean, there was so much talent in that tournament, and there still is to this day.
Yes, to this day. And I'm talking about coming from my era with, Kenny Battle, Nick Anderson, Kendall Gill, and these guys, man, coming down. I mean, it's absolutely great. And in your high school career, we're going to take a step back. Did you have any siblings, brothers or sisters playing sports?
Absolutely. So I have one brother, Brandon Dunson. He's 2 years younger than me. And so he played as well. He went to Bloomington High School. He was a big-time athlete himself. He made a couple transitions where he was at a junior college, Wabash Valley College.
Wabash, there you go.
Yeah, Wabash Valley. Was a JUCO All-American. Went on to Arizona State. Played some professional pro basketball. And currently right now, he's a men's assistant basketball coach at BYU. But I'm so proud of him. He worked his way up.
That. Yeah, yes. I love that, man. That's awesome. So I'm almost betting because a lot of people down south they play 34, but up north we play 21 in the backyard. So I'm almost positive them 21 games in the backyard was furious.
They were a lot of 21. I mean, I'll tell you this: when we were practicing, I mean, we'll play 21 for 2-3 hours. I mean, sometimes until 11 o'clock at night because worked in an inner city community center to where he would be there from morning to late at night. And that's where we lived in the gym. I mean, we played with a lot of people that were bigger, stronger, faster, and older. And we just got better. We just kept getting better at our craft. And one day it's led to great opportunities.
Man, I'm telling you, and you just said the magic word for you kids that don't know because my AAU guys, and whatnot, I said, we don't have the gym today. So we're going to practice outside. You know what they all told me, don't you? Coach, I don't got no shoes to be outside. I'm like, what? You ain't got no shoes to be outside. What about the ones that you're wearing, man? Come on, man. So I already know because with those 21 games were furious. And what I loved about the game of 21, I got my current AAU team, Dottie. I had to teach them the game of 21. I said, listen, there's a philosophy. You guys in the South play 36. Yes. And nobody plays defense till the guy gets to 30.
That's right.
And you're not trying to give up the last 6 points.
You're right.
But in 21, you got to make your shot.
Yes.
Then you got to shoot 3 free throws.
Yes.
And it's usually at the top of the key. So if you're a terrible free throw student, I'm already in the game. That's right. But then if you get to 20, you automatically must make 21 from the free throw line. And if you miss, you drop to 13.
That's right.
And then 11, then 9, and 7. That's what we did in the shot. We drop all the way to 7. So you may have a cat that's balling, but he can't shoot. He shoot like Shaq at the free throw line.
You ain't lying about that. Man, I tell you, it's just so amazing, especially with 21, just the game. And there's a couple of times I clanked a few, but I was able to get a few wins.
Yeah, man. So at Bloomington, man, I remember you guys, man. I remember the Little Dipper tournament coming down, and we loved it because we didn't get an opportunity, not many, to come out of the city of Chicago and play with you. When I played against AC Earl out at Moline, We would go out and play there. We'd go out and play Little Dipper, go play Pontiac. The Little Dipper was over in Peru and all that. When did you know as a kid that basketball was going to be the game for you? When did you, as the old saying said, when did you fall in love with the game, baby?
I love that. I will say that I think because growing up, with my dad working in a community center with a lot of inner city kids in our area. And so, I was playing the game at a young age, probably at 6 years old, 6, 7 years old, and I was just okay. And one thing I thought about myself, I used to get beat up on. I mean, I wasn't the player that I was, and I was just playing against the older kids. My dad said, you got to keep working. You got to keep working. And that's why I have a work ethic. For me is I don't believe someone's going to outwork me. If there's someone that's better than me in other areas, but it won't be because of work. And I was able to develop the love for the game as in enhancing my game, learning the understanding of IQ, making right decisions, moving without the ball, not just shooting, passing, dribbling, just making right decisions and then defending. I said, that's going to be probably my niche in college if I'm ever going to get on the floor. And so I would say probably around that 8, 9 years old is when I really start taking it to the next level. And that's where I went on to high school, was an all-conference player, was an all-state player. Then I went on to prep school. I did a year at Brewster Academy.
Brewster, New York.
Yes, out in New Hampshire. And so I was just inducted into the Hall of Fame with Donovan Mitchell. And the week of August, I'll be headed out there to speak, which I'm super grateful for.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then from there, I went on to Iowa State. I played for Greg McDermott. I was under him for a year, had a great experience, learning the ropes in the games in the Big 12. And then from there, I ended up transferring, going to junior college at Vincennes University, where we had a lot of success, went to the NJCAA tournament, was the MVP of the regional tournament. And then I went on to finish my career at Bradley.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not even going to let you say the last one. Okay. But those that don't know, so Vincennes is in Southern Indiana.
Yes.
Big time program.
Yes.
You get the Vincennes and Wabash. Those are like the illustrious of the JUCO. That's like rewinding the clock 30 years ago with grandmama, right? Stacy and Larry Johnson, and them boys going to San Jacinto down in Texas, right? So you get a chance to go to Vincennes and Wabash down in Southern. They make sure they meticulous of who they take on that particular roster because they do a great job. And that's awesome to see you take that opportunity, then push it to the next level. While you were in high school, what were some things that your high school coach, and before we get there, your homeboy Keith Holland said, let's go, Dottie, let's go.
That's my guy.
Man. I like that. Y'all keep checking in on the Pull Up Podcast. Shows you one and only Coach Tony and my guy, Coach Dottie Johnson. But what is the one thing in high school that your high school coach maybe either one gave you as we say, I'm going to drop you one, send it back to me later. Or what is something that your high school coach told you that set in your mind, your ear, and your heart that you said, oh, I like that little nugget he just gave me. This is the one I'm going to run with.
Yeah, absolutely. No, one thing that he's always told me is trust your instincts. You've been playing this game a long time. I think it's just play with confidence. And when I think about it, Ron Rose, he's actually currently the head coach now at Illinois Wesleyan Division III.
Illinois Wesleyan and CCIW, baby. Hey, they tough.
That's a really tough.
They call them the little Big Ten.
Yes. But no, he just really instilled in me is taking the next step and playing with confidence. And when I played with a lot of confidence, it allowed me to thrive. And so it wasn't about the mistakes. It was about how do you bounce back from adversity. So when you make a mistake, let's make sure we don't make the second mistake in a row. And again, just being under really good leadership, Ron Rose has mentored me. And still to this day, we still talk about it, even in my coaching philosophies. But again, he gave me the keys to the car as a sophomore. As a freshman, I played a little bit. As a sophomore, he expected more out of me. And, it's one of the mindsets as you have to or you get to. And I got the opportunity to, which I'm super grateful for, that allowed me to create a platform for myself.
Man, You said two key things that happened to me. Early in your career, I became a captain as a sophomore. Same thing. Guys hated me. I ain't give a damn. Got it. And I'm like, hey, look, if you want the ball, you better run the floor because I got it in my hand. If you don't run the floor, you ain't gonna get it. And my homeboy Kenny Miller, he was dropping dimes, just doing everything. So, it's amazing how the old school coach, but now things have changed. We're gonna take a commercial break. Your boy Chicago Ed said, "Let's go, let's go." Man, y'all keep checking in tonight. I got my boy. We just getting started on the Pull Up Podcast show with my guy, the one and only Coach Dottie Dunson, the second. Cause I want to make sure I give Pops his prep because I got Tony Thompson Jr. I'm like, look, dude, you the second. I'm the first. So, but we're gonna take a quick commercial, pay some bills, Val. Pay some bills. We'll be right back on the second quarter of the Pull Up Podcast show with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony, and my main man, the one and only, right there. I'm pointing at him right there, pointing at him, Coach Dottie Dunson. We'll be right back.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the KeySpot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
You back, Coach?
Come on, let's roll, Val. I'm good, girl. Oh, you ain't got to stop. Hey, the show don't never stop. Man, listen, we're back in the house with the one and only Coach Tony. This is the Pull Up Podcast show, and my guy, Dottie Dunson, Southern Illinois, as we say, downstate. Man, let's move to Ames, man.
Yeah.
The question that I want to ask is, why Ames?
I will say this, Ames, Iowa, I will say because Greg McDermott out of high school, he recruited me when he was at Northern Iowa. And
remember when he was at Northern Iowa?
Absolutely, absolutely. And he recruited me back when I was actually in 8th grade. And one thing that always sticks with me is people that are very consistent with you. And to this day, this is why I give him a shout out. And I know he's probably, whether he's on or not tonight, is that every single year, he calls me on my birthday. He doesn't have to do that. And so that just tells me what type of character person he is.
Yeah.
And he's invested for life. And so I'm very grateful for him, through my time with him. But no, Iowa State, thought about it as, being in the Big 12. I wanted to get my chances of playing in a place where I had a potential opportunity to come in right away to impact with the roster change. I believe Curtis Stinson and Will Blaylock.
I remember Blaylock. Oh, I remember Blaylock. Well, Blaylock locked you down.
Yes, and they ended up going into the draft. I believe Will Blaylock was drafted in the second round. Curtis Stinson, I don't remember if he got drafted. I'm trying to remember at the time. But they went on to become pros, and so they wanted to bring in some impact players, and I had an opportunity to play at that level.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, Ames, beautiful up in Ames. I mean, right as we say, right up the street from Iowa, over in Hawkeye Arena, in Iowa City, because that was the name of the Big Ten boys. And back in the day, between Northern Iowa, Iowa State, and all that was like a little triangle that was going on up there, because and then you had Northern Iowa. NIU recruited me up in that particular area at that time, and I wanted to stay home. But looking at the opportunity, we're gonna roll the clock back a little bit. Go back to the high school coach. What do you think at Bloomington that prepared you to make the opportunity at Iowa State? Now, did you have any other schools besides Iowa State looking at you before you took that opportunity at Iowa State?
I did. I had a lot. So, I had Minnesota, Tulsa, NIU. I probably had 35 to 40 scholarships from mid-major to high major. And so for me,
wow, okay.
It was trying to find the best fit for me.
Best fit, yes, sir.
Because academically, with myself, I had a learning disability. Let me rephrase that. Instead of a learning disability, a learning style. And so I had to make sure that it fit not just basketball, but in the classroom where I can succeed holistically for my student athlete experience.
Man, that's awesome. I'm with you because, I mean, I'm telling you on the Pull Up Podcast show, Coach Tony was the same. I had to come in during the summer and do what they call placement exams, 099, so forth and so on. And I went on to major in political science and finished in 4 years. And because I refused to say I couldn't do the work, couldn't complete it. So, man, Dottie, we right here, baby. I understand that and all that. So now you get up to Ames. You're in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Talk to us about it.
Man, I'll tell you what, it was a shocker. I don't believe it was for me. Basketball was the easy part for me from understanding the game, but understand to do it at a whole nother level of the pace, I had to make adjustment, because you're not going against that type of caliber talent every day. So I had the opportunity to play Kevin Durant in the Big 12. I just won't ever forget this court.
Yeah.
We're going into the game. He's averaging 35, 36 points a game in the last 4 or 5 games. The crazy thing is I don't like to tell this story, but I'm going to share it today. We held him to the season low, and you can go look it up. I think he had 18. He finished the game with 18 points, which was the season.
And that's a low, which is most guys' highs.
Yes. What's crazy? What the crazy thing is though, he only played about 20 minutes, so he took the night off. But he had a really good game. But they were loaded with DJ Augustine.
That's right.
Kansas with Sharon Collins, Mario Chalmers,
Chicago boy.
Yes, the Big 12 was a really, really good beast conference. I mean, there was off, and man, it was just competitive day in and day out.
Fred Hoiberg was a little before that, right?
So Fred Hoiberg came in after Greg McDermott.
Oh, he came out the way, yeah. Because I'm telling you, man, I remember that Big 12, man. You guys were just in Kansas, like you said, it was loaded. I mean, everything that Kansas had was ridiculous. I mean, year in and year, they were like the current Kentucky, before Kentucky took a dip and all of that. And everybody wanted to know who was going to Kansas. And they got a lot of Chicago boys down there. So you end up at Iowa State, up in the Ames. You liking it, going to school. Then you say, okay, gotcha. Now it's time to take the next level. When did you make the decision that the career would possibly be in either coaching or trying to go to the league?
I will say this. When I was at Bradley, and actually I will say
Bradley Braves, for you guys that don't know, which is a little bit north of where they're at.
That's right. I was very close, and being from Bloomington, Illinois, I was 30 minutes away from home. And so I've known Jim Les my whole life. And he was the original. And I
don't mean to stop you, who played with my boy from Chicago of all other, Hershey Hawkins, baby. Landon Hawkins. Yes.
Hershey Hawkins was a monster. I'm not going to lie to you about that. Beast. Yes. No, Jim Les was awesome. And, he's always been a player's coach. He played in the NBA. And one thing that he's always told me, that coaching could be an avenue to stay in the game, but also to impact lives through the game of basketball. And so when I was a student athlete through basketball, I was able to learn a lot of life lessons. And so I was a team captain there for 3 years. I dealt with some injuries, but I had a fantastic time. My first year, we had a really good year. We played in the CIT championship game and lost at home to Old Dominion. I can't forget that loss. Yeah. We had some really, really good teams when I was there, and then the support. I mean, you talk about from the academic side, the community, the people that were supporting me just along my journey to be holistically the best person I can be. And so I'm so forever grateful for Bradley, and they helped me become who I am today as I'm transitioning into my coaching career.
Man, and I'm going to help a lot of the young kids. So if you guys are listening tonight, this is the one and only Coach Tony. This is the Pull Up Podcast show with my guy, Coach Dottie Johnson, on board with us and all that. And turn your volume up if you're not having to turn it up, because this question is going to resonate. But I talk to a lot of parents. I just talked to a parent today. Everyone want to give the the hatred speech, right? We're a little bit different right now, Dottie, because of the NIL process. We'll get down to that in a moment. But the thing is, as you were there and as you were working and as you were giving your opportunities and all that, and then you looked around the conference, as you just mentioned, Blaylock over at Oklahoma, Durant down in Texas, right? And there was many more that was in the conference that was still good, and Kansas was loaded and everything. You know, what kind of work ethic every day that you bring to the game? Like the day that you got up, you know you had classes, but what kind of work ethic could you give these young players that are coming up, listening tonight, want to know, what can I do to get to the next level?
Don't take days off. Don't take shortcuts. So when you're in 3-hour practice, you need to do everything at the fastest rep as possible. You don't need to take half reps, because every time you half rep, when you go in the game, you can't create bad habits. So every rep that you do will reflect in the game. That's in anything that you do in life. If you half anything, you're going to get half results. And so I recommend that you always give full reps in everything you do. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to show the possibility that, hey, every single time I get in between the lines, we have to be locked in. And then some people, I'm not saying they don't shy away. A lot of people, it's different from practice 1 to practice 55. People get bored with the process. And if you get bored with the small fundamental details, it really shows up in the game. And so I just tell all the young kids is stay locked in. So whatever that looks like for 45 minutes, or if it's an hour, be locked in and give your best in everything you do.
Man, I love that. Your girl, Angel Whitstone, checking in and says, so amazing. So amazing, man. I think you hit the key word. I tell my girls that. Today, they weren't locked in, coach. And I took a beating. But, you know, the good thing about it is I try to tell the girls, because I'm with them, I said, your L is no bigger than the one I take, because we're all there together. So when we take a dub, we get it together. We take L, we take the L together. Yeah. But if we live to work harder to get better the next day, I can live with that. But if you put your head down and don't want to come out and fight the next game, I cannot. So I got a young team, and we are doing some big things. We're making some big changes and all that. How did your career in Ames and then what you went through set you up for success now? At the end of your playing career, did you have that opportunity to go to the league or maybe overseas? How did that play out?
I had opportunities to play professionally. I could have played in smaller level leagues in Spain. I could have played in Germany. They weren't making a lot of money, but I had an opportunity to continue my career to at least play and travel the world. But my calling has always been to coach. And I believe that is because my passion is to impact lives through basketball. And so for me, it's much bigger than basketball. It's how do we help these young athletes, these young student athletes, to be prepared for the real world? Because at the end of the day, they are the next generation for life that's going to shape the rest of our world.
Man, let me tell you something. I'm going to put that on a billboard. If I could put that on a billboard and post it around, that would be phenomenal. You know, you get an opportunity to now have college camps, clinics, and all of that. And we're going to get into it on the other side. But you had an opportunity to kind of push your career north. Once your playing days was over, what was the first opportunity you got in the coaching world to that you made that decision? I'm not going to be playing, not going overseas, but I love the game and I love mentoring these young kids. Who gave you your first opportunity?
So my first opportunity, I was a volunteer coach at my high school. And so I was able to do some things here and there on and off. And I said, I want to get into college coaching. So the number one thing that I did was I called Greg McDermott. And I said, what do I got to do to get into college coaching? And he says, you need to connect with as many coaches as possible. So what I did was, this is the old school way, because
old school, baby.
I used to go online and I went through every single junior college in the country, and I carbon copied and I emailed every single one. And it took hours and it took days to do that. And then from there, I did every NAI coach, every Division II, every Division III, and every Division I. Now, some responses I did get, some that I didn't, but I wanted to show I was passionate enough to get an opportunity. And so my first college coaching position was at Wabash Valley College.
Wabash downstate, baby. And when I was at Ball State, by the way, we upset them at their house at Wabash, and they were ranked 2 years ago, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, and that experience, I tell you what, and when I took the job, the guy by name, his name was Mike Carpenter. He was at Danville Area Community College.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he just took the job, and he told me that, Doty, this is what I can pay. He said, you make about $150 to $175 a week. I said, I'll take it. It wasn't even about the money. It was just the passion for me to help others. And I've always looked at life as how can you help other people through, not just through basketball, so that they can learn life lessons. And it just kind of spiraled from there. And by the grace of God, I've continued to advance in my career.
Man, we're talking about the grind, baby. If you guys trying to play ball, trying to go into coaching, mentoring, and if you're not listening to this show tonight, then click off. Go someplace else, because we're dropping some fire nuggets around here. Val, you know how we go. I'm a coach. Coach Dottie's the coach. I'm going to let him go talk to his team. I'm going to talk to my team because I got to win this game. We're going to take a halftime break, pay some more bills. We'll be right back on the other side of the Pull Up Podcast show. Hey, it's your main man, right back at you, coming live here from the Rise Studios. And it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure, if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me, because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more about this right here, oh yeah. That right there, that's the Rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those having opportunities to get paid, you want to tune in to it.
Sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up.
Man, welcome back to quarter three. Just came out the locker room. Can't let Coach Dottie beat me because I don't lose, man. You know, we talking in-depth mentoring. We're talking about setting you up for success. And this is Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. You know, let's go back to the career moment. So now you figure out coaching is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. Coach McDermott is almost writing you a roadmap to where you need to be. Now, let's go fast forward. Your first opportunity, you had Wabash College. Now, I get it, Coach, because I've had stops at Fisk, TSU, Volunteer State, right? So, to JUCO, I love it. When I got to Volunteer State, I was like, oh, my God, this is different. 2 years, I told the kids, I'm not going to play with you because I don't have time. So if you can play ball, we're going to put you on the floor. If you can't, we're going to develop you for 1 year. Then you go. I'm recruiting over top of you. Yes. Now, what I love about it, man, what a lot of people don't know, man, this brother right here go back more than a decade. You know, just going back and forth, sharing ideas and doing things of that nature. And it's awesome that what I teach my son and some of my players, the skill level they don't have, is building relationships and being able to communicate the things you're trying to do. And a lot of these parents, until now, because the portal is killing them, JUCO became an option. While you were at Wabash, what set you up for success there?
I would say because at the junior college level, you have less resources. You have to be able to do more with less. So what's crazy is I was an assistant coach I was on the men's side at the time, but I did the strength and conditioning for both men and women's. So we would get up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm conditioning the women's players and the men's players at the exact same time. And you talk about you're the janitor, you do everything. You just don't want to do only one thing. And so the residence house that I lived in, I oversaw men's, women's basketball, softball, and baseball. And so I oversaw all of it while my wife living with me, which was, before my wife became my wife. And she's been a blessing in my career just along this journey. So like at the junior college level, you're not just coaching basketball. You're doing so many other things that touch the lives of them, to grow them, to stretch them, to help them to become the best versions of themselves.
Man, your girl Angel, she checked in. She says, how do you keep your players motivated at their level? Because everyone's at a different level. When everyone is kind of looking at this and looking at that, how do you kind of keep your players locked in to what you need them locked in on? No,
great question. I'm glad Angel said that. I think that the biggest thing is sometimes you have to meet them where they're at. And so I think through relationships and actually having tough conversations, you get through the vulnerability piece. And so now when you get through those tough conversations, they won't take it as personal. Now relationships established, now you can ride them a lot harder, because now they know it's not coming from a bad place because the relationship's there.
And Bella, again, Baltimore girl, she's been in the hood, she's been doing this, little that. She said, what can the local community, like you on the podcast tonight, what can we do to continue to support your efforts and make sure that you're successful?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry about that.
I said, my bad. I said, Bella, she's one of my girls that always check in on a podcast.
Yes.
Baltimore in the house. She was saying, Coach, what can we do as a community to make sure that you're successful?
I think the biggest thing is we show the way. I mean, we all have our own path, right? We all have a unique ability. So it's our job to continue to move forward, to teach life lessons through sports, so that these players and these student athletes that want to be athletes, give them hope, give them courage, allow them to want to do this path as a student athlete. And then if they do that path, now they'll be able to create their story to help the next generation.
Man, I love that. And your boy Chicago East said, this is my brother. Hey, and by the way, Chicago East, South Side, Wild Hunters. That's where I'm from. So you check in with your boy, Coach Tony. I'm not going to do you like Kendrick Lamar did Drake. Man, the other thing, Coach, camps.
Yes.
A lot of these kids don't realize camps and grinding it out. What are some of the suggestions, or even maybe some of the, hey, I'm going to give you one to make sure these kids are getting to the right locations, to make sure they put themselves on. So let's rewind real quick.
Yep.
A lot of the new ball players, and we're going to give you guys a quick history real quick, not even history, just updated information. As of last Thursday, the NCAA just passed a rule that the universities and the colleges at the D1, especially the Power 4, because Pac-12 is gone, at the Power 4 level, can make sure that they have an opportunity that they can pay for an NIL outside of the collectives and outside of the normal NIL, which is $20.5 million. So to make people understand, if Coach Dunson was recruiting me and he was the head coach at Iowa State and I was a recruit coming from Chicago, he could negotiate a contract with me based on the money he's got in the program, plus the money that the program is already giving the basketball team, plus what the NIL collective, which is usually a booster, can get. So if we rewind the tape, that is basically how Cooper Flagg got $35 million. Talk to that real quick, man, because you're in that space.
Absolutely. I will say this, because I'm at Lewis University, we're kind of not.
And by the way, not to cut you off, Coach. For those who don't know, Lewis University, Division II, right outside Chicago, Romeoville, Illinois, and that's where we are. My bad, Coach.
No, it's okay. We don't deal with it as much at the Division II level yet, because I think that as basketball continues to advance, there's more opportunities for our student athletes. But no, I think it's a great thing. I'm super excited that our players and players are getting paid sports, because I know there's a lot of people like ourselves, we didn't get this opportunity. So
Correct.
they do have the platform to have the opportunity to get paid. Now, how we channel it is we have to be very careful to create these avenues for these student athletes. What are we doing to help prepare them for life? You know, we just don't want to put them in a position where they're getting a lot of money, but they're not doing the right things with it. And so I wonder if we can put some parameters around, a little bit more parameters around how can we help these kids sustain it and to create a career out of this.
And I got the question that came in the audience tonight, wanted me to ask you when we got to this topic is that, do you feel or do you think that the players, because majority, we got to get, 80% is African-American and the rest go from there because of just the talent pool. But do you think the financial literacy is in place or in play for our athletes? Because we know they're talented.
Yep.
We know they're doing a great job. But some of these kids, you and I know as well, the day is long. They sometimes come from a broken family. They sometimes come from a one-mother household. Sometimes $10,000 is no different than $1,000. And when they make $1 million, it's like, I made it. But they don't realize there's a little small thing called taxes or FICA, right?
Yep.
So speak to that for a moment of being in the moment as an athlete. And then trying to make sure that if you do get an opportunity to make it to that next level, which we call the promised land, how you need to structure everything.
Yeah, no, great. I think that in this space, our athletes, is there enough financial literacy? I would say yes and no. I think some institutions will have a little bit further depth than others, because if you look at every level, there's different problems. There's some more than others. But I think at the same time, to help them, we need to have more parameters, I believe. I think if with more parameters, it will allow our student athletes to be more financially stable, but also having understanding of how money works, but also putting them in positions so that they can thrive. Because if we look at it on the men's side, let's just look at it from this. There's an NBA draft. There's 60 people that get drafted every year, right?
And mostly 30% is coming from Euro.
There you go. So you look at it like there's 30 that's actually, the second round is not guaranteed. The first 30 have contracts. Let's just say 15 of them are from Europe, right? We'll just say 15 out of 30. So that means there's 50 players. Yeah. And so 5 players are freak athletes, like your Kevin Durant, your LeBron James type, Cooper Flash. There we go.
Yes.
Now, if you're not top 10 in the world, you don't actually have a contract. And so I think these players have to understand, I'm not saying that's not realistic. You want to put yourself in position to have that, but you got to have a plan B, C, and D. But what are we putting in place for these student athletes so that they are prepared to wait? Okay, if this doesn't happen, what is the next option? What are we putting in place so that they have a second or third avenue?
Man, it's like Elon Musk sent a spaceship to all the way in the galaxy to see the moon. Dropped the bombs, the fire, everything. What he just said off the rip. If you guys are out there and Coach, you don't understand how much my phone rings. Coach, I need your help. I need this. I need that. Let me rewind the tape, and Coach, I want your response on this. I keep telling these guys, I don't give a damn if you're at EYBL. I don't care if you're at Under Armour. I don't care if you're at Adidas Gauntlet or whatever you are. If the coach for the summer, it don't have the contacts and don't know how to pick the phone up and reach out to a college coach to open that door, son or girl, you're going to struggle. So the thing is, I told these kids almost 9-10 months ago, Coach Dottie, do not count out the JUCO like you went to Wabash. Because to me, in my personal opinion, the JUCO is now the brand new basketball, because with the new NIL and how they're dealing, the coaches have told me when the season is over, they said, Coach Tony, I love you to death, But my first look is in the portal. And this year, by the way, people, if you don't realize and don't know, and this everything all together, basketball, women's basketball, and football, 49,000 people were in the portal. And the basketball's over 15,000. So people like Coach Dottie is looking for players, but he's going to look to the portal first because he may have that one reject who couldn't make it at a Power 5 or a Power 4 that could uplift his program, and all that. Talk a little bit about your day-to-day. You go about your recruiting, the kids you're looking for, the opportunities that they may have.
Well, I don't want to give all my secrets away because I know there's a lot of coaches that are on here, but I kind of tailor my recruiting in different characters. There's like different phases. So I can consider tier 1 high school prep, tier 2 junior college, tier 3 transfer portals, and tier 4 grad transfers. And so depending on the class that what you need, whether if it's the 26, 27, 28, 29, to kind of even that out, I kind of go after based off the philosophy and more of what I need for that position, so that if you have a higher level of a lot of seniors, well, I want to probably bring in more kids with experience. But if you have the in-between middle and some freshmen and you have a little bit of carryover, now I can bring some more freshmen in that will allow me to have some more continuity. So as culture graduates, culture still sustains to keep it moving forward.
Man, let me tell you, Angel, everybody, if y'all not listening to Coach, y'all better come to practice with your shoes tied up. Because I'm telling you right now, we recruiting over top of you. So if you ain't coming in every day to the gym ready to work, man, bounce out. Go someplace else. Because we're looking for winners. I tell you what, we're going to take our last break of the day. We'll be right back on the Pull Up Podcast with me, the one and only Coach Tony. But this right here, I'm pointing at my boy, Coach Dottie Dunson. We'll be right back on the other side for the fourth quarter. Val, pay my last bill of the night and get these bill collectors out of my pocket, please.
I've always thought about how my mom has supported me in any creative endeavor. How beautiful was it for your mom to be the superhero in your life and show up in your creative ventures with this book?
People ask her to sign the book more than they ask me to sign the book. Sometimes I step to the side, I take their picture. And, we have to celebrate our mothers. We got to celebrate our beginning. So she comes out with me. Every event, she is there. Even when I tell her she does not need to come, she will show up in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, you coming? Okay. I'm like, all right.
Right. And she got a bottle of wine in her hand.
What in the world? Why are you giving her alcohol?
No, I'm just saying. She showed up in the parking lot. She got a bottle of wine, nice wine. She's going to set it down. She ready for the show, Val. You know what I'm saying? Because the funny part about it is, CJ, I've actually talked to Val. I thought about, writing a book myself called My Man's in Them.
I love it.
And look at Val.
My man's in them.
My man's in them. But you got to read the book. You got to read the book. But it's a play. CJ, I apologize because Val should have dropped some old Dub C so you could have came out crip walking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not flamed up right now. I got to hold on. Trying to get me shot.
Going back to school tomorrow, like, I saw you, Miss Charles. I saw you.
I mean, I can crip walk, so please, but I'm kind of, I'm authoring right now. You guys are funny.
Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast show with the one and only Coach Tony and my guy, Coach Dottie Johnson. Man, I love that commercial. CJ Charles, she's a sister girl coach from Los Angeles, man. When she jumped into the book business, you know how hard it is to be an author to write books? And it's just amazing. So we're going to turn on the key because you are in that spotlight. Man, let's drop back a bit. Yeah. Okay, high school ball.
Yep.
His brother chose to go to way up in northern Iowa. Y'all ain't never been to Ames. It's beautiful up there. It's real green. Yeah. But Ames, Iowa. and then you end up doing some good things, then jump into coaching. What made you want to jump into the authoring business to become a book writer and write a book?
No, I think the thing is I want to be able to share my story. You know, I wrote a book back in 2018 called Win the Court. It's kind of like a self-motivation, determination, and just key roles that help beat the odds in life. And, you know, you talk about you talk about just how life is. Everybody on this earth has a story. We all have a different blueprint. And so this is just the backstory of my life of not kind of how I talked about earlier. My learning disability became more of a learning style and how I was able to overcome any adversity so that I can give people hope. I can give people the blueprint to where, hey, we can all write our own story. We just have to continue to walk it daily.
Man, you know what I love about that? When I say we, you know, no pun intended, but we as African Americans, as we're young, the middle school or the elementary school or the middle school to these kids want to sometimes say that we are ADHD, right?
Yes.
And put us on this medicine. And instead of listening, or as you said, place us where we need to be placed so that we can go from there. Speak to that a little bit, of how sometimes that's disheartening. And some athletes either get lost or they stop the journey when all they had to do was just work a little hard. What was the one thing that got into you that said, hey, man, I'm very unusual. I'm supposed to be writing this book, right? You and I already know. If you go back to your childhood, you weren't writing that book based on what they said about you. So what was the one thing that you said, I need to put this in words and I need to produce a book?
I would say the number one thing, and it's the number one thing that leads my life, is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
My man.
Reason why.
God, as they say, God is good.
Absolutely. All the time. You know,
all the time.
He is the reason why I am where I am today. And that's the reason why I wanted to write a book. You know, I talk about like just my life. You know, my favorite Bible verse is Habakkuk 2:2, and it's write the vision and make it plain. And
there
like
you go.
And at some point, when you try to pursue your dreams, at some point, it's going to come at a point in time. But the only way that it won't come at a point in time is if you give up on your dreams. So you have to push every single day so one day that you can become. And so that's why I wanted to create this book so I can inspire others to where they're chasing their journey as well.
Man, you know, the funny part about it, I'm a coach. I love the name, Win the Court, because that's what I said today. I wasn't even referring to your book, and I told the girls, you got to win the court. You got to win the rebound. You got to win the box out. You got to win the loose balls. And then you got to win everything extra, as we call it, Coach, right? The 50-50 balls. That's balls that they can get to or balls that you can get to. But who is most hungry can win the 50-50 balls. When you decided to write this book, what was the 50-50 ball that you kind of had to jump over hurdle and say, hey, you know, I win this ball, this book is successful? I
would say this. Why be average when greatness is available? And that's in everything.
I might steal that from you, Coach.
And the thing is, like, we all see the line, right? Why can't we go past the line? Why can't we go 20 steps past the line? Why can't you go 100 steps past the line? Like, in life, like, we all see ceilings, but there's really no ceilings when God's involved. And that's where the piece of, like, when you put him first, you can do anything that you can even imagine that can come true. I truly believe that.
Man, I love it. Now, let's give your girls some shout out, because you know they're going to love you high five because you kill them. I done seen the videos already. Let's go out. So you get an opportunity, Evansville University, you make a move, and now you come back home to Illinois. But then you got to go to my back door, baby. You got to go out there in Romeoville, 45, 50 minutes outside the shop for those that don't know. And you end up at Lewis University. Man, let's talk about your kids you got right now, man. Let's put them on blast. Let's give them some high fives. Let's make the girls, love them, man. Why did you choose to take this opportunity from Evansville? Because you went from Southern Indiana back to the crib.
Yes. I will say this. There was a lot of familiarity being back home. And one shout out I want to give is my athletic director. His name is John Asherlew from Toronto.
There you go.
And one thing that withstood, he wants to win, and he wants to win the right way. And when he took over as the athletic director a couple years ago, I looked at it as, I'm looking at it as, well, he was a coach before, and now he's in administration at the highest level, and he's hiring people that wants to be like him in the sense of running their own program. And what better way to have the opportunity to work for an athletic director that has coached basketball and played against. It's just a different level feel that we just connected. And I think we connected on the Christ level, and we connected on the basketball level. And one thing led to the next opportunity, and it's something I couldn't pass on.
Man, that is you better tell John to holler at me. So we keep all this rolling, rock and roll. Man, the good thing is looking at the team. Yeah. So the great thing, I know, being a Chicago guy, Lewis University is always, as they always, they've always been in the mix. Not saying the mix, for those that don't know and don't understand basketball or football for that matter, when we say we're in the mix, if you got a conference, the top third. So they've always been in between 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes. What can you say about this team that you took over, and what's your expectation of them moving forward?
Absolutely. No, I took over a really good team with great tradition. Lewis has always won. You talk about the coaches that were before me. You talk about the Lisa Carlson. You talk about the Kristen Gillespie, the Sam Quigley's, Keisha Noel. All of those coaches have platform leaving here to go Division I. And so they have high expectations of winning. With me, it's not really, whenever you take over a job, you don't know if you're taking over a really good job or you're taking over an average job. I think this is a place where it's already established. And so now it's time to reload. One thing that I'm excited about is when I took over this job, you don't know who's going to leave and who's going to stay. Correct. And we have 11 returners coming back to the program because that
lets you know how dedicated they are.
Absolutely. And so I'm so grateful to have all 11 back. And my first couple of weeks on the job, it was just been amazing because they've made this transition really easy for me. Just learning the day-to-day, getting through the things. But, they're just very passionate young ladies, all of them. And as well as we signed 5 players, we got 4 freshmen coming in, 1 transfer coming in. And I'm super excited for the season. We're going to be very competitive. We do want to win now. And again, we have to put in the work. Nothing's guaranteed, but we're going to try to close the gap on putting in work first.
Man, if I know Lewis, you guys are going to always put in work. If I know you, you're going to always be in first. And I got a shooter for you. I told you, you go, hey, we know how we do. But, I was telling this road grinding, man, recruiting heavy. And I got a shooter just peeled off 10 threes in the state championship game here in Tennessee. So we're going to talk about that. But, the thing is with your girls coming in the work ethic, what makes them want to come to practice every day? And what makes them want to be a part of what you're trying to build?
Well, I'll say this. They already have the championship DNA. Last year, they were 26-4. They did that without, and you talk about they won the regular season championship and went to the NCAA tournament. And don't get me wrong, there were players that were really good that had graduated, that was player of the year, first team all conference players. But again, they want to repeat. They're hungry. And so, again, nothing happens without the work. We're going to try to close the gap. We don't believe in putting a number on wins. We just need to get better 1% daily and continue to stack days to put ourselves in position to hopefully get another opportunity.
Man, and the big thing is you guys are going what next year?
Can you hear what you say?
I said, and the great thing about it is the program is getting ready to go Division I next year. Talk a little bit about that.
So they're not going Division I, but we do have volleyball is Division I. And so, so we do have a Division I program, but we're majority Division II, but our volleyball is really good. Our men's volleyball, we beat Ohio State this year. So again, like all the way around with all sports, they're having a lot of success. And so we're hoping to continue to push that tradition forward each and every year in every single sport.
I tell you, man, for those of you that are listening tonight that have an athlete that maybe have the opportunity to play next level, Coach Donnie, let them know how they can get in touch with you.
You can contact me on my social media, whether if it's Twitter, Instagram at Dodie Dunson. So it's at DODIEDUNSON. And if you ever want any conversation or need anything from me, you can email me at ddunson. So it's DDUNSON at lewisu.edu.
Man, and then if y'all don't get in touch with him, all you got to do is pull up on your boy. That's why we got the Pull Up Podcast show. Pull up on your boy, Coach Tony, and I know how to get in touch with Coach Dottie. Very easy. Man, I tell you, it's been amazing. I will tell you, if you could leave the players, the parents, the kids, the program, whatever it is, with your lasting words, and if you were going to move on to the great, whatever, retire, and you had to lead this program with something that they could move forward with no matter who they brought in, what would be the one message that you would leave this program?
Leave the program better than you found it.
Ooh, I love that.
And ultimately, be the best version of you.
Yes. Now, you know how hard that is? Do you know what I tell my coaches, my players coach, you know what I tell them to do?
What do you tell them?
I say, Coach Dottie putting up jumpers. I'm the point guard, playing D. I want you to play harder for Dottie than you play for yourself. Do you know how hard that is to do?
Yes.
You know how hard it is to step on the court and I got to play harder for the guy next to me or the girl next to me than I play for myself?
Yes.
Man, let me tell you something. Man, my brother, listen, thank you very much for embracing us tonight, coming on, talking about the book, talking about the career, the opportunity, and for those. And let me tell you guys, listen to the show tonight. Don't be sending no poodles over here. We only accepting Rottweilers and pit bulls. You ain't got no rock, you ain't got no pit. We're gonna talk to you later on. We love the French poodle, but we looking for dogs, right? We're looking for guys, girls that can get it done. You know that. Coach, if you had to leave everybody with one lasting message, man, what would it be?
Enjoy life, love it, and live it to the fullest.
Man, I love that. Listen, thank you guys for checking in tonight. We've had, of course, me, the one and only Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast show with my boy, the one and only Coach Dottie Dunson. The rise, Coach Dunson, as you got your players. What I do with this logo that you're looking at, we make sure that we get all our players the ultimate opportunity to work with brands. So if you are that player with a program and want to make sure that you have the opportunity to work with a brand, then please reach out to me because we make sure we unleash your potentials, whatever that may be. But it may be Division 1, D2, D3, NEI, whatever it is, look out for yourself first. But make sure you reach out to us first so we can make sure we connect that. And Coach, let me tell you something.
Yes.
Val, the voice Johnson, I know you ain't talked to her a minute, but she dropped a book, man, called A DJ Saved My Life. So she's in that author space too. And she talks about how music and podcasts pulled her up from the books because she was already on the other side, but it brought her back. Man, if you don't know, please scan that QR code. And also, she just brought some paperback. Bro, hey, Coach, she got some paperback for us, man. We can get it on the reader or we can get the paperback. So we make sure we get that book ordered.
I'm going to get that book tonight. As soon as we get off, I'm getting it tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to love it, man, because it's going to tie into what you're doing. And then, for those that don't know, Val, the voice, and myself, we drop another show on Tuesday nights called Interlude Talk on Tuesday. Tomorrow night, we got my nephew who's been in Black Panther, who's a rapper. And by the way, for those that love that outro and the intro of the Pull Up Podcast show, my nephew dropped the beats to that, and that's him singing on the record. But we're going to bring him in the house tomorrow because he got some more good news, Coach Dottie. He's just contracted with Tyler Perry on a brand new show. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, pull up on us tomorrow night as Interlude Talk on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central jumps off. Coach, man, listen, let me tell you something, man. Thank you. We've been trying to do this for a moment. I've been trying to get you for a minute. And I want to thank you very much, man, for just taking a moment out of your time, man, to pull up on us tonight.
No, Coach Tony, thank you and Val for giving me the opportunity to step on your platform to share my story. So thank you so much. Grateful for you. Man,
I appreciate that. Now, in the meanwhile, Coach, put them 2 fingers up, because we do it like this, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Been pulling up tonight with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony. But peace.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. Kev is the engineer. Val is the one you hear. Hey, Coach Tony got the sports show. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said Kev is the engineer. Val is the one you hear. Hey, Coach Tony got the sports show. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's go. Hey. Let's go. Hey. Let's go. Hey. Let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.